Hey, brother, did you try that new restaurant down the street?
Yeah, I went there yesterday. Man, the food was off the chain. And the chicken was like, how they be saying it? Like, to die for.
Whoa.
To die for.
To die for, brother?
I'm saying, I mean, the chicken was good. You know what I'm saying?
Can't you just say the chicken was good? Does it have to be to die for? That sounds a little effeminate.
Did you wear skinny jeans while you were eating the chicken?
Nah, I'm saying, I'm saying it was good, man.
Was it rainbow chicken?
Hold up, man. I just wear the chicken was good.
Belt with a sparkly buckle on it while you eat?
Was the server doing a sissy bounce?
Man, I'm just saying, the chicken was good. Look, man, the chicken was good, no homo.
No, the time has passed for no homo.
You're supposed to say it before, brother.
It's like a disclaimer.
I can't say, I just said no homo, though. There's no regulation on when you can say no homo. What are y'all, like a regulatory governing body over no homo or something?
Brothers and sisters, don't get caught up. Don't let the homosexual poltergeist pull you in. We are the final front in the war against white sex. Stand strong. This African service announcement has been brought to you by War on the Horizon Radio.
War on the Horizon. You gotta love it.
No homo.
Goddess is obvious, this devil got us at each other's throats like we don't need each other just to stay afloat. I took a solemn oath I wouldn't abandon you. Be a man for you, stand for you, let it bang for you. Beyond the present, setting a standard for our children. Living life in the likeness and image of ourselves, bias and forwards in the wilderness and hells of North America. Goddess incarnate, a reach up my heart, my reflection, my lifeline, my all sparks, my conscience, the battery in my back, the clip to my ratchet when I'm on the attack. Make a house into a home, escape madness in our palace. The want the permanent praise focuses my malice. We know the enemy and its many faces, and in many motives to try to decimate us. One is separation, I don't want a vision, that anxiety. Literally for the life of me, I'd rather die than be with other white meat. Brothers like to sightsee, saying they like variety. But that's a cop-out, he won't see the light. Black woman got the most variety, cause there's no phenotype. That's either there or there, let me make it clear. I don't just gotta love you, I wanna love you. Yes, let's take it there. For brothers seeking out your compliments, you should only look at one continent. Brothers seeking out your compliment, you should only look at one continent. Never mind the geographic location. When you look at her God, you know where she from. Look at her hair, son. Look at her. Damn, son. Nah, I'm saying, don't get it twisted, I respect your intellect too. Nah, queen, this isn't just sexual. Love and respect is due, but I'm a man when words fail to be adequate. All I can say is, in the relationship, I'll be the anchor, you the sail. Only through miscommunication can we fail. My business is your business. When I get big-headed, you let me know I'm tripping and give forgiveness. I'd be lying if I ain't wanna wring your neck sometimes, but in the bigger pic, I be killing sunshine. Say it with me, a BD for Odie. Hey, yes, my lady, that's the only aim. As we build being examples for the village, keeping the family peace and punishing the wicked. If I come home with blood on my hands, you already know what it is and who it was. Let's smash. Brothers seeking out your compliments, you should only look at one continent. Brothers seeking out your compliment, you should only look at one continent. Our goals align, homes fortified. Let's hold the line, let's hold the line. I live for you, you live for me. Ain't no mystery, ain't no mystery. So in a nutshell, I'm compelled to spell it out, yell it out to the world. My black woman, my black pearl. Many have tried, but have been denied. Access to heaven is for heavenly bodies and reserved for gods. My heart pumps blood, so love floats in my hemoglobin. I give you my life if you needed it. I will be your donor, and this is far from over. Yes, this is far from over.
Peace and welcome to the Message to the Black Fan program on War on the Horizon. I am your host, Sister Angela Freeman. Now, I do just have to say I have some bragging rights for everybody. Like, that song, the lyrics kind of sound familiar. Exactly, because I gave y'all a preview of that in the book God's Gift. I told y'all hang tight and the song will be coming. That is our beloved brother, Ambassador O. better known as Omawali of United Front. And he was so kind to put the lyrics to that song in my book before it was released. He does have a CD coming up sometime in July. It's going to be released. But definitely have to send a shout out to that brother because he is so dedicated. He wrote the foreword to God's Gift. And right in the middle of writing the foreword, he had some issues with his MacBook and actually lost everything and had to start from scratch. He actually rewrote it on his cell phone, like texted it on his cell phone. So that is dedication. I don't think I would have even been that dedicated. So we have to send a shout out to him for the wonderful foreword he did, the beautiful song he did, and just stay tuned. It's very, very exciting for the new United Front CD to be coming out. I do want to talk about the week that I've had, and you have to excuse me if I'm a little disheveled. I have had one heck of a week, let me tell you. So I go down to St. Louis, take a little road trip to St. Louis last week to watch my stepdaughter graduate. I do have to give a special shout out for the Rittner High School class of 2013. And luckily, she did so well. She has a full ride to college, so she will be leaving the nest in August. So we are very, very proud of her. But we went down there to see her and started off having a good time. I mean, we went to the Cahokia Mounds. A lot of you may have seen that on Hidden Colors too. I have a thing for archaeology. I've been to the pyramids in Mexico. I'm hoping in the next couple years to go to Machu Picchu. So I love that. That was good. It wasn't as impressive as some of the pyramids in Mexico, but one thing I did like was the fact that white people knew so little about it. Whatever secrets they had there, they pretty much took with them because like white folks cannot give you any information about what it is. That's why it's not as impressive, I'll say, because you can basically just go there and look at the mound. But a lot of the artifacts they have aren't even from there. They're from like Arkansas and different states around the area. But I didn't see a whole lot from that actual mound that they excavated. So the people were smart enough when they left to take their secrets with them. So I have to respect that. So that was good. We went all around the city, visiting family and whatnot. And then me and my friend had an urge for cheesecake. So we decided to go drive to the mall. They said it was going to be some thunderstorms. So we're like, we ain't worried about that. We're going to get our cheesecake. Go to the mall. Why we get hit by like the biggest tornado in the world? They had us all stop shopping, stop doing whatever we were doing, go down to the basement of the mall to the loading dock. It was horrible. It was hot. It stunk. We were right by a trash compactor. There were all kinds of crazy looking people down there, probably waiting for us to lose power or something like that so they could engage in some crime or some robberies or something like that. So I just want to remind everybody, I've done a couple shows, I think, on survival. I've definitely done a lot of videos on survival posted up on YouTube. Always be prepared. I always go, my purse is like heavier than it needs to be because I always travel with my natural health first aid kit. I usually have some water on me. I didn't have any water that night because I had just drunk it all. But, you might carry a knife on you. If you have your concealed carry, have that. Because you never know what could happen. Like, literally, I was just going to get cheesecake and wound up in the middle of that. Luckily, the tornado, right before it got to where I was, changed direction, but then it hit right where I was staying. And it like pulled up whole trees, like these big 16-foot trees, pulled them out the ground, pulled power lines out the ground, all kinds of stuff. So ended up the last few days, I didn't even have power. And that's another thing. You need to have something to do around your house because a lot of y'all flip out when you can't watch TV for a while. So I'm not going to go on and on about this. I've lectured y'all about it before, but just be prepared. Have you some food at home, some water, some weapons, all of that kind of stuff, because you never know when you're going to need it. I did, like I said, I think last time, tell you that I do have a website, a new website now. Instead of the old blog, I decided to step my game up a little bit. The new website is authorangela.freeman.com, and if you click on life skills, you'll see a post on survival, and that has all of my survival videos on there. So check it out and get your family together, because you don't want to put yourself in a bad position just because you didn't take the time to prepare. That's just crazy. I also want to thank all of the book clubs that I was able to visit and the sister circles down there in St. Louis. We were able to discuss God's gift in person, had a great time, a lot of positive energy, and it's really good to meet people face to face because before releasing the book, I thought that I was going to get a lot of negative feedback. And that really has not been the case. I can count on my hands the amount of people who have had something to say about the book. And those people are people who have not even read the book and they're just like single and miserable and going to be like that the rest of their lives. So I definitely want to thank everybody down there for your support and buying the book and telling me how much you appreciate it and just being able to dig a little deeper into it. I'm going to be starting today the God's Gift Summer Series, and this is going to be weekly. I know you're used to me doing the program every other week, but until we're done with this, it's going to be a weekly series. And since I'm doing it more often, I'm just going to do these shows however long it takes to get it out. It may be a full 2 hours, it may be an hour, depending on if I have guests or not, depending on your interaction, if you're calling in. We'll just go until we ain't got nothing else to say, and then we'll end the show. But this is going to be going on for the next probably at least I'd say 2 months, just to go a little bit deeper into some of the concepts in God's gift. So you still have time to buy the book and read it. It's a very easy read. You can get that from War on the Horizon or my website, whichever, doesn't matter, support Black business. And we're just going to get into it. What's in the book, as well as some other topics just related to what's in the book. So that's basically where I am at today. I think that is all of my announcements. After my program today, stay tuned for the Cipher. They're going to be talking about the Christian sensibility. And you know they always go in when they talk about that. So you have a good evening lined up as far as shows go today. We have a treat today. I have one of my favorite guests anyway. He keeps me entertained. And I know y'all love him just as much as I do. We're going to be talking to Brother Irritated Genie to get a man's perspective, get the testosterone going in here, and just add on a little bit to the subjects we're going to be discussing today. So let me see if we have my brother on the line. Brother Genie, are you there?
I am, and I'm honored to be here.
Thank you, thank you. What did you think about Brother Omawali's song? Did you hear it, the intro music?
Yeah, what I think is, I'm going to holler at Ambassador O. I'm trying to figure out how we got these folks rolling around with sneak peeks of songs, and the Irritated Genie don't have one. It's a little bit of an issue, but I'm sure we can work through it and resolve it.
That's right. I know I had to get with them too. I had a similar problem. You had a song, and I was like, wait a minute, why don't I even know this song existed? So definitely cannot wait for that album to come out so I can have the full lineup because he is holding back a little bit. So how you recently went to Little Rock, right?
Yes.
And made it home safe and sound. How was the reception out there for you?
People, the people that we met with, we actually got so comfortable with the brothers and sisters that brought us down. We actually went and did a live video. We've been wanting for years to do Ghetto Tears, our brother's keeper.
Uh-huh.
But we haven't had the right feel. That's not something you can just throw a video together. You got to get it right. And the brothers and sisters in Little Rock was like, we can take you to the hood. We can take you to the neighborhoods and meet the brothers and sisters. And we can do this video that's going to be right. And when we went out there, man, we went on the block. I'm going to tell you what was the craziest thing ever. The craziest thing ever. We saw an abandoned house, and we started going, and we started filming some of the video right there. And sure enough, the brother was there. Now, most people out there have heard of that thing called Banging in Little Rock. It was real popular.
Mm-hmm.
Where, they had all the gangs and all that kind of stuff. And I haven't seen it, but they kept talking about it the whole time we were there. People were just mentioning it. So the brother that was taking us around, Brother Cam, said, look, y'all ready? Y'all about to really see Arkansas right now. So we sitting up on the abandoned house thing. So I'm like, okay, we was about to see something go down. I'm like, but it didn't feel that way because it was a nice sunny day. So I'm trying to figure out what's going to be a drive-by or something. So next thing I know, a brother, cool brother, comes strutting around a corner on what looked like a Clydesdale. I said, what?
What?
Right. Brother just walking through the city on a Clydesdale, just just strolling like, yo, you know what this is, just cool. And we said, bro, we taking a video. And he said, hell no, I'm just going for a walk. And he going for a walk with the horse. And he trot the horse up and down. We get that in the video. We say, yo, Little Rock is live. Okay, this is a whole nother ball game.
I know that's right. That's not something you're going to see in D.C. or Detroit.
Nah, we ain't get no brothers rolling around with no horses. You might have some horses in that Impala he rolling in, but he ain't got no horse. This is a real horse.
Wow. Yeah, they doing it big down there. I'm
Right.
sorry I missed it. Yeah, so I know that you actually were a major force in helping me write this book and convincing me to write this book. I wasn't sure if I was going to do it or not. And I'm sorry, I just got a message wondering if you could maybe speak just a little bit louder. You're coming in clear to me, but maybe not as much online.
Okay, is that a little more clear?
Yeah, you sound fine to me. I think that's great. Because I had the idea to write a book. People had been asking me to do it, and I was like, I don't know nothing about writing a book. So I called you, and you like, yeah, go ahead and do it. And help me edit it. And really, I don't think it would have come to fruition the way it did without your help. What made you interested in this project?
Well, the first thing that made me interested in the project was the fact that, and our brothers and sisters, if I'm still not loud enough, let us know, because I can always call in and get a better reception. My voice is a little hoarse from the weekend. But the first thing that did it was you. The fact that your personality is one that wants to fix the problem. You're not just a sister who's here and just here because it's something to be part of or something to do. This is something that you got part of because you believed in the mission. You knew the things we believed in. Nothing deterred you about it. And even with that, if you have your own opinions, you stand up for it. So you have kind of a Warren Horizon spirit. But then as a black woman, you've always been, in my estimation, more critical of the women than the brothers, even though you're very critical of the brothers. And what I liked about that is my philosophy has always been, if we're going to get change in our community, the men have to blame the problems on our community on ourselves, and we got to take the onus to say we're the ones that got to change this. The women got to take the responsibility and say, no, it's our fault, because if we were doing our thing, our brothers wouldn't be in this condition, and they got to take the responsibility. And the children got to say, no, we're the young people, and if we was doing the right thing, the youth are the ones supposed to start the revolution. It's our fault. We should be doing it. And if everybody took that personality and took that mentality that it's our fault, we got to stand up and do the right thing, we would be fighting with each other to contribute to the race, and we would gain greater respect from each other. But generally what happens is black males, not trying to be men, often point the blame at black women. Black children, and rightfully so, point the blame at the adults because we haven't taught them anything. And far too often and consistently, black women point the finger at black men as the problem, which is true, but from the perspective of being a black woman, it is used as a rationale to ignore the black woman's contribution to the decimation of our race. And with your personality, what I like, you were always talking about how, yeah, the brother's not doing this and that. But look, this is what this crazy stuff that we doing as sisters. You always would take responsibility and say, hey, I know I act this way and I've done this, so I got to constantly remind myself. And I said, that's a person, a black woman taking personal responsibility. And when I heard that, and I heard your spirit, I said, and you talked about the book, I said, it's probably, as it relates to black family, it's probably the most important book that can be written during this time. We have some books by Brother Baruti. We have books about other brothers and sisters about black men and our need to stand up. We got the feminization of the black male series. We got a 4-part series on that. We got Predators in Our Midst, which focuses on the males, not the females who's molesting children. So we do a lot of stuff targeted at black men not being men and needing to change. Very little is out on the market challenging black women to take responsibility for self and do better than they doing and to hold them accountable. So when you said you were going to do it, I thought it was the most important thing that can be done. And based on the sales and people's response, particularly black women, I feel like we were correct in that assessment.
Wow. I think, and we talk about this all the time, a large part of the problem is the way that we're raised. We're raised to completely reject any femininity, any like submission is like a 4-letter word. Obey is like a worse than a 4-letter word. That's just how we're trained from the time that we're little girls to think that anything feminine is weak and that we're enslaved and all of this kind of foolishness. So we're like naturally bred to be in opposition to our men. And I think that that's where a big part of the problem comes from. We also, because many of us don't have fathers who are active in our lives, we haven't grown up with a real male role model. And a lot of us don't listen to the men that are around us. We're very arrogant and we don't listen. We have no idea what it's like to actually be a black man. Every time black men talk about that they have it hard, we like roll our eyes. I don't want to hear it. I got it hard too. But we really don't take the time to open up our hearts and really hear what black men go through. And that's one of the things I like about you a lot of times when you call into the program is that you really are able to give us a heartfelt account of how black men think, how black men feel, what they're going through, because a lot of us just think it's bull. We don't pay attention to it at all. We don't want to hear it. We're too worried about our own pain, which a lot of times is self-inflicted. We don't want to hear about anybody else's.
And that's one thing that I realized is, and I hate giving any credit or making any comments about how well whites do anything. But I gotta admit, the devil, the white devil's ability to influence the black female mind into seeing a war against, having black women seeing the war be the black man against the black woman as opposed to the white race against black people, has the black woman totally deaf in her ears to the idea and the concept of the brutality that the black man suffers in this society. So where there was a time when black women were sympathetic, empathetic, and maybe sometimes too sympathetic to the course that black men were suffering in this society, it has changed to because intellectually she believes that the war is between black men and black women, or women and men in general, as opposed to black people against the white race. She is completely convinced that the reason that she has the job she has is not because anything that the whites are doing to try to give her power over her mate, but simply because she's superior to black men. She believes that the reason black men are getting locked up is because they're going out and committing crimes, as opposed to they're committing crimes that are created and sponsored by the European, and that there's a systematic approach to target and destroy black men. She in no way, shape, or form, sees the fact that it's an orchestrated thing that's happening. And so it's just very important that we have to really do something, like particularly black women need to step out there and begin to understand racism and white supremacy and talk about it so we can change that reality in our community. And when our people are thinking about what black men go through, there's some sympathy from black women about how black men are treated in this society so that black women will help make their sons stronger instead of trying to strip the strength and manhood from them. And I think as horrible as it is what black women are doing, I think most of it comes from the fact that black women really have no concept and don't even believe that black men have the hard time they have in this society.
So can you explain to us a little bit about, honestly, what black men go through? What are their struggles? What are their dilemmas? What is it that we are not getting that might change our attitudes if we really understood?
The reality is, as black people, we try to see the world as just a place where we're living with no real paradigm or concept of what's really going on. everywhere black people exist on planet Earth, there's a targeted war against us as a race. In particular, in order to wage a war against a race, the first thing you got to do is wage a war against the men, because, or the way to wage direct war, because the men are the ones who, if they see their race under attack, are going to just go ahead and start fighting. So, in order to destroy black people, everywhere black men are, the entire full weight of the system around them, which is organized and controlled by whites, is designed to strip black men of manhood, which means make it difficult for him to make a living and support his family, strip any idea of respect and authority from him by his women and children, remove the concepts of protection and being a vanguard to protect his women and children from his community, and create a demoralized and a low state of self-esteem and hopelessness in young black male youth. So in America, to make it a more practical thing, the reality is everything that happens in a young black boy's life, particularly the alpha male, that's another thing I want to say. And having discussions with many brothers and sisters around the country, one of the things we came to the conclusion is that those that make it through the cracks are usually not the guys who at a young age were strong alpha males. And what that means and what it helped us realize was that, why is it like when I was young, I was not the strong alpha male in my community. Yeah, I grew up in Southeast, but I wasn't one of those guys out there that people say, yo, that dude's from Southeast. I just made it through. But the really toughest, strongest guys, who were the kind of guys who had the Hannibal of Carthage type of characters, just pure warlords and warriors, those brothers, most of them got caught up in this system one way, shape, or form. Some of them have made it through, but even if they made it through, they barely made it. And the reason is because from the moment that young black male goes to school, he is bombarded with the idea that he has no value. He is taught history of everybody else other than himself. And anything he does that demonstrates his natural black male aggression is totally targeted for failure. He is made into a criminal and made into a dope addict at a young age just for having a natural inclination to strong alpha male behavior. So it becomes very, very difficult for a black male because he doesn't understand what's going on. As adults, we do whatever the European system tells us to do, which is attack the strong black male youth that doesn't want to listen, that doesn't want to sit still, but wants to hear about himself, and if he's not hearing about himself, he's going to start engaging in rebellious behavior because he needs strong, self-improving, self-inspiring information to keep him active and keep his pulse in the right direction. Once he gets out of school, if he makes it through school, which is very difficult for an alpha male to make it through school because he is less inclined to be passive and accept information that is not designed for his development, which the very curriculums in the U.S. system are written. I want people to hear what I'm saying to understand. The curriculums are designed to bore and isolate black males. I'm going to say it again. They are not designed to destroy the minds, in particular, of black women, which is why our girls tend to do better in schools than our boys. The curriculum is specifically designed so that the black male becomes dysfunctional in that environment and restless. And then they have a supportive system designed to destroy his life once he throws tangents or once he's not listening in class and is unattentive. They have a whole system designed for his destruction. If he makes it through that, then he now has to do the second part of it, which he has to go and find a way to make a living, which is another piece that the Europeans have specifically designed. They will invite the black woman in, smile and grin at her, The same brother that walks in the same door is treated, and the black woman doesn't see this because she is not the black male. So she doesn't see the looks that he gets. She doesn't see where she does one thing and is rewarded for it. He does the exact same thing and he's targeted targeted for it. She doesn't see the fact that they don't even want him to be there, and it's an unspoken rule. I've learned this. It's an unspoken rule. But in order to be accepted in that white environment, the more effeminate you are, the more passive, the more unmasculine and unblack you are, the more chance that they will accept you as a black man. They don't say it in those words, but only a black man will realize it because only a black man is the one going through it. So the whole system at the workplace, anywhere in this country, is designed to destroy and decimate strong black manhood, which means brothers tend to start cooning and shining and smiling and bucking in order to keep a job, or they have a difficult time keeping jobs or going higher on jobs because he's not going to bend over and just take it. He's not going to crawl if he makes a mistake. He'll get it corrected, but he's not there to be effeminized. He doesn't want to. He's a strong alpha male. He's made it through the system, but now he has to deal with that. So then you have a situation that is extremely difficult, which is why a lot of brothers would rather go sell dope and do other stuff, because even though it's wrong, he's free in that situation to just be out there and do for himself, even though we know it's completely backward behavior, rather than go somewhere and be punked out by a system that's designed to turn him into something other than a strong black man. When he leaves that environment, now he got to deal with the fact that his own women tend to resent him many times because they don't understand why he can't make it in that system the way she can. And she say, listen, this is all you got to do. Just go there and do this because she's looking at it from what she does, not realizing that that's the design of the European, to give her that ability to be there and make it. And then to prevent him from getting that so that now she's the breadwinner. So then you even run into situations, and I've seen this personally a number of times, where you'll have, and of course, a lot of sisters do help brothers on the jobs and try to help us to make sure they don't get rid of us, help us to get these jobs. If it wasn't for our sisters, many times we wouldn't be able to get a job. At the same time, a lot of black women who've been hurt in this society then will get on those jobs and be the worst terrorists against black men that you could possibly imagine, because she is being rewarded with a job, and the breadwinner that she knows is the white male or that white institution. And so therefore, now she's doing the job to who is feeding her, and his request, without him actually saying these words, is you make sure these ends don't come up and cause no problems. And they use her in many cases, as well as other Negro males, as like slave drivers to try to keep strong brothers down on the job. Then, when the brother leaves that situation on the job, he's got to go home. In many cases, to a black woman whose mind has been shaped by European media to believe that his natural black masculine zeal is not appropriate. The only thing that is appropriate for him in his masculinity is his sexuality. So he's supposed to make her feel good sexually. But he is not supposed to have authority. He is not supposed to be the decision maker. He is not supposed to be someone that she looks up to and respects and trusts. He is not supposed to be someone she can build with. He's not supposed to be someone that if he asks her something, she can just say, okay, babe, whether she agrees or not, but she can just say, if it's not something that's negative, I'll go along with it because this is my man, I want to be supportive. She does not believe she should do the things that successful white females, successful Asian females, and successful females of any race do for their men. She really believes, and she has been convinced, that she is in a war in that home. And the war is to take control and dominate the out black male, similar to what the white male does on the job. So that no matter where the black man goes, whether it's to school it's out in the world with police pulling them over. And literally, every time a police pulls over a black man, particularly these crackers, the Negroes do it too, but particularly these crackers, there's an undercurrent that he wants to kill you. You feel it, you see it, you're angry because you're mad, you know you haven't done nothing, or even if you did, you know that the reason he's talking to you like you're an animal is because he wants you to do something to give him authority and license to murder you. So whether it's that, whether it's going to his job, where they're trying to strip his manhood from him, whether it's trying to see his child, where many times the sister will use the one thing that black man has that he feel like he has control of. I produce a child, and I'm going to make a strong little boy. Well, when things don't go right with him and the black woman, many times the sister will use that leverage to take that away from him. Sometimes that's all a brother really has that he feels like he's done that's of value in life. And that's where he has his value. So now he only has the power to be an authority figure over the very child he produced that he wants to protect and lead him on the right path to make him a good, strong black man. So if it's not that, then he comes to his very home, where if there's any place he could get some support, he would think it will be in that environment. And then once he comes to that environment, what he finds out is he gets less support there. In fact, many times, unfortunately, because the whites don't have to, once they got this system in place, they don't have to have a 24-hour-a-day, 7-day-a-week direct hostility towards black people. So what they'll do, sometimes the whites will let up on black males, knowing that they've created such insanity, they'll let the black woman do it. So many times the brother will get more relief from the cracker on his job that's just not really caring so much to do destruction on an individual level than he gets at home. So brother would rather go to work sometimes, and usually those work environments, like we said, are still trying to emasculate him or demonize him. But at least sometimes he can just go to his job and do his job, as opposed to being in a house internally where there's a woman who is driven at every given moment to take a man who already realizes that as a race of men, we're not doing what other men are doing for their community. We already know that, so our self-esteem is low. He now has to deal with a woman who is stripping, doing everything she can do to take the last vestiges of a fight that this brother has in him to try to man up and do right and be a man. She's doing it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week under his roof. So he has no escape from the assault that he's under. And that's pretty much, to some degree, a synopsis of my view, kind of a summary of what the life of a black man or black male is in this society.
Yes, sir. And for all the women who are listening and saying, yeah, whatever, because I can hear you. I know. I know what you're saying, because we hear it all the time and we're like, yeah, whatever. I do want to tell you that is very, very true. There was a time when I had a job and I actually had to end up resigning my position because there was a lady there. I would call her a sister, but she wasn't a sister. She was a dark-skinned mulatto. And that was pretty much her job. I was a supervisor and she was directly above me. And she would just do stuff just to mess with people. I mean, it affected the black women somewhat, but it was really aimed at the men. They would hire people in, and you have to go through a whole interview process where you're speaking, and you can tell how somebody communicates. And I remember one day she came in with a new checklist, and all of a sudden now I had to monitor people for enunciation, meaning if they say I ain't instead of I'm not, or I'm fitting to instead of I'm about to, or whatever. All of a sudden I had to start holding that against them. And after so many times, you'd coach them and inevitably they'd end up losing their job. And it was just things like that constantly, all the time, not promoting qualified people. There was not a lot of white people that worked there, but the few that did work there, they were almost guaranteed to get promoted. There was a few brothers that I recommended for promotions who she never really looked at because, of course, they're black men and things like that. And I think the enunciation thing was the last straw, because I figure if you hired somebody and spoke to them, then you accept them how they came in. You don't hire somebody for this job that doesn't pay a whole lot and expect them to speak like a college professor. So I actually ended up resigning from that position just because of, if you want to consider a black woman, mulatto woman, whatever, doing her job trying to keep black people in general and specifically black men down. It definitely happens, and I've seen it with my own eyes. When a black man goes through all this all day long, getting pulled over by police, experiencing racism on the job, looks a lot of times, even when they come to greet us, I mean, we won't smile at them, we won't talk to them. If they tell us, give us a compliment, we get offended. I don't believe he said that. Like, I would talk to him. I ain't talking to you. I mean, all kinds of unnecessary stuff. And then he comes home looking for a little bit of consolation. Like in the book, I told a story of a brother who just had a really, really bad day in chapter 1. And he comes home and the wife gives him anything but consolation. Matter of fact, I think in the book she told him, if you don't work, you don't eat. You just lost your job today. You better take it to KFC, get you some food because you ain't eating here. All kinds of madness. When he comes home to that, what does that do to him? How does he feel?
Man, this is a real crazy reality, and I'm just going to be very, very honest. Okay, most black men won't say this out loud, but I'm going to just be real about it. The thing that really makes, I speak for myself, but I know other brothers like this too. The only thing in this world that really makes us feel like a man is a woman believing us to be a man. So whether it's our mothers being real proud of us, and particularly though, a black woman that's a mate who looks up to us and appreciates us and has great respect for us and adoration for us. It's like the only thing that really, that's when we can make a black woman feel good and proud and she wants to support us and we're doing something she thinks is valuable and she wants to cook for us and clean and be there by our side and help us with whatever we're trying to do. When she needs us to do certain things for her and we do those things and she appreciates them, it gives us a sense of value because the society doesn't do that. When a brother doesn't get that, what happens is, and the reason a lot of brothers will still stay in these extremely dysfunctional relationships is because we don't want to be like many of our fathers or generations before us where the father wasn't there. So we want to do what it was taught to us that black men didn't do, which is be a father, be responsible, take care of his woman, and all this. At the same time that that's going on, deep down inside, it's eating away at any vestige of self-confidence and self-worth that we have. Because even though the woman is there with us, how weak you are a man when you're tearing down everything about his strength. You're not building him up as somebody you believe in. You're not talking to him in a manner that says you should be respected. Because the way that woman talks to him and screams yell at him, on some level he takes that out into society as a reflection of the degree of respect he expects to get from society. And so essentially what it does, to be 100% honest, it kills black men. Because the only person that really has the power to make black men feel masculine is the black woman. In our insanity, we can run to a white female as a surrender. Meaning, well, if I'm really masculine and have any value, if I can get a white female, I must have some value because that's the white male's female. That's a black male who's completely surrendered. And now the only sense of value he can have is been having somebody else's female validate him. But for a brother who doesn't want to go that direction, to come home and be with a woman that's hostile towards him takes away the last possibility and vestige of real sense of manhood and self-worth, which essentially ends up that man is never going to really do nothing for his people because he don't really have the confidence in the fact that he's really a man to be able to do it. And if he does, then he can't stay there. He got to leave. He's got to leave.
Yes, sir. Now, I've always had a philosophy that there's three types of men when it comes to cheating, and that's just the first one is the minority. They're just degenerate. They don't care. A lot of times they're out to just hurt whoever they can with no conscience. They're just some really dirty dudes. And then the second type is just the brother. He just love women. No matter what you do, he just love women and he just gonna do his thing. And then the third type are the brothers who are pretty, I mean, they're good dudes generally, but they're not getting some kind of need met. And so they step outside of the relationship looking to have a certain need fulfilled. Do you agree with that? Is that generally what's happening a lot of times when men can't find peace at home, that sooner or later they can't take it, and instead of leaving and being victimized by the child support system and losing everything in a divorce, they just decide to shut up and put up with their wives and step out and get a little something on the side?
And it goes back to what we just said. This is the reality of the situation. I agree with 100%. If a man does not feel like his woman respects him, and if he doesn't feel like a man at home, it's not the sexual thing. The sexual thing can be part of it, but for many brothers, it ain't the sexual thing. And I try to get this across to women a lot. Knowing how to be a great sexual partner is a great thing, but that ain't what drives most of the men who are good dudes out to do something. If either they do it because, like you said, they like women, or quite frankly, it has become such a standardized reality of black women making a home a hell to be in that he needs some semblance of peace. And what happens is, unfortunately, it's a reality. When a black man is in a house where he can't get any peace, he can't come home to an escape from this sick, crazy world he lives in and enjoy the company of his woman, but she always complaining about something. She never want to have sex. It's always this huge thing to go and have sex. She wants to be combative on everything that comes up. It's all her trying to control all of these things that add extra stress to him. There is about 20 women out there who every day that he leaves that house are talking to him and smiling at him and offering him a different reality. Come be with me, I'll cook, I'll be pleasant, and basically I'll cater to your every need. And I know so many brothers who was in relationships where when I say that they were committed, it was their motto. I mean, they were standing on the fact that they wasn't going out doing nothing. They're going to be these great men. And through months and years of just pure, unadulterated, useless, illogical disputes at home, based just primarily in black women's belief that if things are going okay, something is wrong. They've been driven out and literally against their own desire. Men who don't want to do it just say, man, forget this, you got to be crazy, and go out and end up with other women. Sometimes they'll leave their woman for this woman. Other times, they'll just have some women that they can deal with. And again, a lot of times the sex is great, but a lot of times it ain't even the sex. He got a woman that will listen to what he's dealing with, help give him advice and encouragement, and he wants that emotional support more than he wants the sex, but the sex is an added bonus.
Yes, sir. And I know today we're talking a little bit about the topics we covered in Chapter 1 and 2. And Chapter 2 talks about homemaking, and that's something that a lot of women turn their nose up at. They're so busy wanting to get degrees and jobs, they really neglect their home. And a lot of us make excuses. It doesn't matter where you live. I live in the heart of the ghetto. I mean, I done lived in some hoods, but I live in the hood. And I still... Yes. Your genie know. I still make a home for my family. I don't make excuses. Your house should be an oasis. It should be a refuge for everybody. You, your man, your children. When you walk in that door, it should just completely separate you from the outside world. And I think that that's something that's really lacking in women, is that we don't feel the need to be domesticated anymore. And that affects the whole family, because the whole family benefits from that. what do you think about that, about black women just not wanting to do any of that? And how does that affect men when they come home to whatever they're coming home to?
I'm gonna tell you right now, and I've had to work on this myself because like I have my queen now, and she got 2 babies, and I got to remember that these are babies. But so I've learned to do little stuff to help and to not be so have such high expectation that everything will always be in order. Because put me around these children for 10 minutes about myself, and they start looking like crazy. I mean, I don't even know how women do this because children can really do something, but to be 100% honest, it's this thing as a man. I think it's just a natural thing. Particularly if you grew up in a house with a mother that was neat and cared about cleanliness and neatness. Ain't nothing worse than to come into a place that's nasty and grimy or junky and there's a woman in there. Because it's a sense that this is how life is going to be, and life is a feeling of disorganization. Ain't nothing better than to walk into a room and everything be neat and pristine and clean, and you just sit down and everything is just nice and neat and right. It's just, and I'm not saying that there's not brothers that can do it, but honestly, in my opinion, women are far more orderly. I've even tried sometimes, like when I had women and girlfriends or whatever, they would come over and then they would fix up like I would have all my colognes and all the stuff on my dresser. I would think it looks cool. Then they would come and move stuff, and it looked just so much better. I used to, like, when they leave sometimes, try to compete. So, nah, let me try to see if I can do it. And I could never, no matter how much time I spent, it just take 2 seconds for them to do it. They just knew how to make it look better. And that feeling of looking better just makes you feel good. It disturbs me to no end to be in junky stuff. But the crazy part is, if I'm by myself in this junky, it's not that bad. I don't know why, but it's not that bad. I know I left a junky. But if there's a woman around and this junkie, it's a problem. I'm just being honest. If something like it's really bad, and what happens is it make a man despondent. You don't want to be there because in your mind you feel like, why she letting it be like this? Which what I have learned is part of that is on us too. We can't be making messes and then always expecting the sister to do it. So like one of the things I do, I'm real careful not to just leave clothes sitting around. I don't do that kind of stuff. I try to minimize the extra stuff the sister got to do so that she can keep the house the way it's supposed to be. And I learned that over the years that, if you make little modifications is good. But for a woman, I'll be honest, cleanliness is next to godliness. And you really can disturb a man enough to not want to be in that home, which is the first step of him stepping out. It's just him being away more than he would want to by keeping a messy home. So I would say make that a priority.
Definitely. And we're going to be coming to the phone lines in about 10 minutes or so if anybody wants to call in. I don't want to just go to people who are just listening in. So if you want to come in, you have a question, just hit *6 and we'll come to you. The number is 760-569-7676. Participation code 948656#. As I said, if you have a question or comment, just hit the *6 button. Otherwise, I may just go on down the line. Y'all know how I do. But
can I say one thing?
Of course.
Okay. This is one thing that I don't really have an answer to, but one thing I do realize. It is not entirely that black women don't already know the stuff that I'm saying. This is why I say that. And this is what I done heard, not that I would know, but whenever a black woman is playing the other woman role, meaning a man has a wife or he has committed relationship and she's the other woman, it's this magical thing. She knows how to be clean. She knows how to cater to the man and listen to his issues. She knows how to be supportive. All the things that need to be done to keep a man comfortable and to have a man feel like he's being supported and has a partner. She knows how to do every one of those things almost like magic. It is not until she has the man and he commits to her that all of a sudden she doesn't understand how to make a man feel good how to be supportive to a man, how to keep a black man. So it's a little bizarre because somebody had known it when you was the other woman, but now when you have a man, you don't know it. You know it, you just choose not to do it. And I think part of it is the training, but some of it, you might be able to tell me what that is.
You know what? That's interesting, and I never thought about it like that before, just because my mind don't usually even go there, but that's a good point. I'm curious now, why are people buying God's gift if you already know this stuff? If you, if you can do it when you're the other one, maybe these people have never been the other woman. Maybe that's what it is. So I'll give them the benefit of the doubt, but that does make it doesn't make sense, but it rings very, very true that a lot of times they do know this.
And I'm going to say another piece. And it goes right along the same line. Even for the woman that's not the other woman. Black women know how to be like that when they trying to get a man. In other words, when a woman is dating a man, she exactly what she think he want her to be. So if this is what he's looking for, she real peaceful and she's supportive and she not that argumentative. I mean, they can be, which is usually why the brothers don't stay. Because the brother, once he peeps that this is an argumentative, disagreeable woman, he bounce. But she can be real agreeable, Then you be like, bro, how'd you get with her? He said, man, she wasn't like this when we together. I don't know what happened. As soon as I married her, next thing I know, a whole nother woman popped up. But she knew how to be that woman that he needed then. But once she got him, now all of a sudden a new woman comes. So it's like, there's something going on there that black women are making a conscious effort to not be agreeable to be with their men and keep their men.
Well, I think a lot of that has to do with being raised on fairy tales and these Euro dynamics. We really take that to heart. A lot of times we believe that, we'll be on point. It's a front. We're on point until we got him. And once we got him, then we can relax. And then on the other hand, we look at a man and feel like once we're together, he needs to change. All of a sudden, nothing he does is good enough. We don't like how you talk. We don't like how you chew your food. Everything that we used to think was cute, all of a sudden now it gets on our nerves. And I don't know. I think it just comes from being raised in this European culture that at the very beginning of a relationship, we're just so fake that it can't last long. It's not something that we've really taken to heart. Men do it to a little bit, but.
Oh, yeah, men definitely do it. Men, he'll buy you all the stuff that you want. He'll do all this stuff. He'll do it, and then you get with a brother, and he's not like that. But honestly, in my opinion, men tend to be more consistent of who they are when you meet them, once you spend some time with them, and then after you lock in with them. If you pay attention to who they are, they tend to be more consistent than women. I mean, women will do a 300 or 180 degree switch around, opposite direction thing, and you go, I never seen this woman before. Where did she come from?
I agree. I think that men, for the most part, they are who they are, and a lot of times they will allow the woman to be who they are, with certain exceptions. But I think women definitely get into a relationship with men thinking that this is somebody that I'm going to fix up. I'm going to just make a couple changes, and then he'll be the perfect man. Whereas men don't settle as much. Men want you to be what they want you to be, where women think that, we can kind of make you and mold you into what we want you to be, which usually ends in the result of a relationship, because ain't nobody going to change just because you want them to.
And one of the things I learned over the years, and I'm talking about many years of making a lot of bad decisions and mistakes, one of the things I learned is, and this is a suggestion for brothers and for sisters, when you get in a relationship with somebody likes you, they can tend to want to pretend to be who it is that you're saying that you want. What I've learned to do is not jump all out there telling everybody everything that you want, and particularly being conscious. Because what I've seen is, if you are a conscious black man and the black woman wants you, she'll shake her head and nod and be pro-black power and all this stuff, not having any interest or consideration about it whatsoever. And she'll do it strictly because she wants to have you. Then the moment that she got you and think that you locked in, she becomes totally opposite. And brothers will do that too. So I say, when going into a relationship, not that you don't share truly who you are, I'm not saying that, but you should do it slowly, not telling them, if you want to know how somebody feels about homosexuality, don't tell them how you feel. Ask them what their opinion is, because they're going to give you their honest opinion not knowing what you think. If you jump out there with all your opinions and ideas and views, many times a person will take that and say, well, I got to say this in order to have a chance with this person. And they may not say, that's a brother or sister, they may not say what the reality of that is. And so you end up getting a fake person before you get deeper into a relationship.
That's true. And I had another question for you too, because a lot of times, some of it may be true, but I think a lot of it is not. Women say, you know, when you ask them, well, why do you perm your hair? Well, because black men want me to perm my hair. They don't like my natural hair. Well, why are you wearing so much makeup? Because I got to look attractive for men. And some of that is true. But for the most part, not really. Because it'll be times when her man will say, you know, I don't want you to wear so much makeup. Could you wear a little less? That's kind of harsh. You don't own me. Well, you know, your skirt's a little short. Can you pull it down? You don't tell me what to do. So if we're really trying to be pleasing to our men, we would do what our men wanted us to do. But since so many times we're confrontational and combative when it comes to doing simple things that our men ask that would make us more appealing to them, we're more worried about everybody else. It kind of makes you think, you know, a lot of times we're fooling ourselves to think that we're doing all of this stuff just to please our men. What can a woman do to make her man really proud of her? If there's a woman who's genuinely interested in being appealing to her man, what makes a man proud of his woman?
Okay, I had to qualify that. It depends on if you're talking about a conscious man, you know, a race man, or just a regular brother. So which one are you specifically asking for?
I'd say a man with a basic level of decency, because sometimes the race men really ain't all the way race men anyway. Sometimes they like a little degeneracy too. So I'll say a man with decency, a good black man.
Okay, just a generically good black man, not necessarily conscious.
And you can do it for conscious men too if you want to do one and then the other.
Okay, if you're just a regular man, one of the things that makes a black man real proud of it is when his woman sees something that needs to be done and goes out on a limb and does something for herself. So let's say she's out here and she didn't finish college. And she said, babe, you know, today I signed up. I wanted to go, you know, finish and get my degree, just finish it because I think I should have done it or something like that. And something like that. So she's doing something for herself, and she's doing. He said, well, I'm proud of you. I'm glad you did that. You know what I'm saying? I always thought you was, you know, I told you was smart. You know, my brother said, you know, you're real smart. You need to do that anyway. And we think that college is the way to do that. So I'm just using that as an example. When a black woman does something progressive and positive for herself, that will bring something to the family or something like that. If she if she goes out and they got an apartment or whatever, and she starts looking and saying, you know, I just went out and looked, you know, to see, you know, about houses, and I went to this person and talked to him just to see if we would even be able to do a house. And they were saying that we're in a situation that we could do it if we wanted to. So I want to know, do you want to go with me to go look? She said, I didn't really want to tell you at first because I was like, I don't even want to bring it up if we can't do it. But they told us that we might could do it. So, you know, you want to come? He like, wow, you went out and checked this off. We could get a house. I ain't even never thought about nothing like that, man. Yeah, I want to go if we could do something like that. I ain't never even think about that. When a black woman does something that's progressive, that's going to benefit her and the family or the man, or just, you know, be progressive, black men really take great pride in that. If she makes a change that is a needed change, and she does it to better herself, in particular based upon something he may have mentioned. So, for instance, let's say she never cooks, and he give her the book, God's Gift. And next thing you know, she enrolled in a cooking class, and she's trying making different dishes and stuff like this. He's like, what made you do that? She said, well, I heard what you said. You know, you always talk about how your mommy used to cook, your grandmother used to cook, and I know I can't cook. So I decided I'm going to take me a cooking class, and and I'm going to try it. I can't promise I'm going to be like that, but that makes him proud because it's like, man, she thinks so much of me that even though I'm cool, I like to cook, but she want to be able to cook, to do something that I said that I used to like my mother doing, my grandmother doing, or when she comes to our family gathering, all the women be cooking. And so now she went to do this to try to do something for me. That makes him feel proud because it makes him say, I got a real black woman. She knows that part of her job as a woman, just like part of my job as a man is to make her happy, which means doing my responsibilities. Part of her job is to make the man happy, which is doing her responsibilities. And one of those responsibilities in many cases is the nurturing, which preparing the food is one of those things. It don't have to just, but something that means something to him and is valuable. And a black woman takes initiative to go and do it, and then tell him you're doing, and then follow through. It makes a man feel very proud and valuable.
Now, when a man is looking at a woman, and this is like a serious man, he's ready for a family, wants to settle down, what makes a woman wife potential? Because I've heard some of these young girls saying all kinds of wild stuff. That's one of the reasons I wrote the book about how they should be appealing to men. And like I said, most of it is way out there. So from a man, when you look at a woman, when you're looking for a life partner, what do you look for?
One of the main things, if he want to use the word wife, if he's a mature man, one of the main things he's looking for is dignity. Because when I say dignity, what I'm saying is, quite frankly, the bottom line is, he want to know if his best friend was over there and he had to rush out the house and leave and didn't come back for 5 days, there ain't no way in God's green earth that she would try to mess with some other guy when she with him, because her character just doesn't speak to being that kind of person. That's one real thing. A woman that he really feel like he can trust because she has some dignity. It's not that she not cheating on him because she love him. She not cheating on him because she not that kind of woman. She has some sense of dignity, self-respect, and she has some standards. That's one thing. If a man is doing well, he also likes a cooperative, progressive woman. Meaning, the man's doing pretty well in life and everything. That means that he probably wants to do something. If he meets a woman and he's talking about different things, she's like, oh, that's a good idea. Have you ever thought about this and that? And then next time he talks to her, she come in and say, look, oh, when you were saying this, I looked this up. You might want to look that too, because you were talking about getting the stereo system that does this. And they said, now they have one that's wireless that you can do this. He like, well, what made you look at that? Well, you was talking about it. You was saying you were going to do it. So I was like, well, let me look and see. She's progressive. She hear that he's doing something. Instead of feeling like it's a competition with her, she takes an interest, and she's smart enough to know if this man trying to do something progressive, that whether she gets with and stays with this man or not, it is a productive thing to do to try to help him do it so that he's successful in doing it. When a man see a woman like that, that's supportive and progressive, what it means is if he decides he wants to go get his own business, he's going to have a woman that's like, you can do this. We can be successful. She's going to come up with every idea she can think of to make it work. If he's going to throw something in the community, try to get people out to support the young people, she going to be there with the girls doing cheerleading and the uniforms. She going to put her money up. She going to cook because she's progressive. So I would say dignity and a woman who's cooperative and progressive. Those are like some things that when a man see those things, he start thinking wife material. And the last one I would say, again, if he's a progressive, kind of upstanding kind of guy, how she dresses. It's a telltale. I mean, that's going to be, before all of the other stuff, that's going to be the telltale sign. If she dresses in a respectful manner, then he can open the door in his mind to, is she wife material? If she don't dress in a way that he feels he would want his woman dressed, then it's a hump, because he got to figure out, is she a woman that would change the way she dressed? If she already comes with dignity, she's cooperative, and she's cooperative, and she's progressive, and she dresses like a woman with dignity and some self-respect, man, right then and there, he start thinking, yo, she might be wife material.
But I'm a little confused because you didn't say that you needed somebody with a master's degree, and you didn't say you wanted somebody with a six-figure income. That's not important?
Not for a man, because most of us ain't got six-figure income, so to some degree, sometimes we can feel inadequate with that. So some brothers, quite frankly, if a woman got more of that than he got, can't even do it. Some brothers just can't do it. Other brothers, even if they do it and she never demonstrates any sense of superiority or that she thinks she's better than him, he's still going to feel that she think that way because of some of his own inadequacies. And then you got brothers like myself. I ain't got no problem. A woman got 15 PhDs as long as she knows that I'm an irritated genie. The problem with that, though, the problem with that is that it's just not realistic. Realistically, if she got a PhD, she thinks she's smarter than you. If you have a woman that grew up with a smart father who maybe was a good man and solid, hardworking man, and put her through college, but he may have never finished high school. But he was a good man, and he stayed with the mother, and the mother was doing big things and made a lot more than the man. But the respect was for the father. He was in charge, and that's different. She may be able to deal with that. But 9 out of 10 black women, if they make way more money and they get all this stuff, that's not going to be something that impresses that man. He might like it if it comes with her being supportive and appreciative of where he has some value and she still see him as the leader. If it comes with her thinking that her money and her degree has something to do with the status in that relationship, if it has any overflow with that, you got a serious crisis.
So when you talk about seeing a man as the leader, I've heard a lot of Pan-Africanists and nationalists talk about they don't want a woman who sees them as a leader. They want a woman who can lead themselves, and relationships should be 50-50 and all of that. So you're telling me that's not true? Men want somebody to look up to them?
I'm saying 100%. I will say this. To the degree, like, for instance, I'd be sitting in line if I didn't say, sisters never tired. The real reason, besides the fact first time I saw her, I was just like, it was a weird feeling. It wasn't nothing physical. It was some weird feeling. I said, I have a problem here. I really like this person. But her spirit, she's very intelligent. She's very capable. She's very strong-willed, and it's genuine in her spirit. And she can learn, she'll be saying one thing, then I can say this, well, think about this. Next thing you know, when she come back and breaking it down, she might have been all the way over there in the wrong direction. Once I break it down, though, when she come back, she's saying it so good, I'm like, I got to jack that. That's hot. I never even thought of it from that perspective. She's very capable of picking up stuff, so she's really a brilliant woman, and she's very passionate and strong. So I would be sitting here telling kind of ridiculous if I was to say, one of the things that attracted her to me was not the fact that she is able to take things and do things on her own, to be out front and do all those things. I love those things about her. So I can understand where nationalists and Pan-Africans come from in terms of it is very attractive for a black woman who can be, capable of moving out there. But at the end of the day, for this relationship to work, I'm driving the ship. And if she don't understand that, we're going to have a problem. I can sit here and talk all that equal 50-50 stuff. Ain't no 50-50. I'm the king. I'm the lion. That's how it works. I call the shot. But now, at the same time that's there's another side of that. I could not be with her if she was just waiting for me to have opinions all the time, or she never challenged anything I said, never, or nothing like that. Because the beautiful thing about this, she could be a leader in her own right, but in this house, I'm the leader. But because she got that natural inclination to be able to be a leader, if I'm wrong about something, she'll just say, hey, look, you need to think about this because today I'd be like, Dad, you're right. Or she'll say, Dave, you need to do this because this. And then I'd be like, dang, I ain't never think about that. So she's constantly contributing. So that contributing that she constantly does is part of the attraction, where if she was just, yes, okay, what do you want me to do? Wait, just kind of like that, it would be a little bit of an issue because she's supportive, but she's not contributing on the same level, actively contributing, where she's a active leadership contributor in our relationship. So I think it's kind of 50-50 on that answer.
Okay. She must have stole your heart too, because you talking about, okay, it's a problem, I'm feeling something. You must have been determined not to fall in love, huh?
Man, I swear, I'm not lying. Honestly, I don't think I never told nobody. So we went to Kemet, and I didn't know at the time, but she had a fiance at that time, so she never even spoke to me on the trip. She wouldn't even speak to me. But the first time I saw her, she had this little hoodie, not hoodie, but little, I call it a skull cap or something. I don't know what she was wearing. But I couldn't even make out, I definitely couldn't see how attractive she was, because her hair was long. I couldn't tell. She kind of was down and everything. She just sitting there with her girlfriend. And there was nothing attractive about her physically with the stuff she wore. Some of these women know how to dress so that you don't really see how good they look. So there was nothing physical about her that I saw that was attractive. I was walking on the back of the bus, but she was talking about something. I don't even remember what it was, but it was something in the way she was talking, like this passion she was speaking with. And I was like, man, who the heck is this? So, I can't even describe it, because I ain't never had this situation happen before like this. I can't even describe it. It was something about her, the way she was talking. And I was like, yo, who is this? And I never forget, because once then I seen who she was. She was hanging with these two other sisters, the two best friends. So I said, all right, well, let me at least try to talk to her. But whenever I would come anywhere around, she wouldn't even, talk to me enough. She wouldn't even, I said, how you doing, sister? Yeah, hi. I mean, barely answering the other. So I'm like one of them dudes, everybody's supposed to love me. So if they don't, then something wrong with them. So then I don't like them, because my ego don't like them not liking me. So I just changed in my own mind to, I don't really like her for some reason. So now I'm on the offensive, not liking her. But then, during the end part of the trip, a couple days left, we was down the Albert Symbol, and she been wearing this funny little head thing. Man, one morning she walked into the kitchen, into the dining room. That morning, I think it was the morning, we going to breakfast. She had let her locks out. Man, the thing is down past to her legs. Man, I almost had a heart attack. I said, oh, Kalonji. I was going to man Kalonji. I said, Kalonji, I got a problem, bro. And he looked around. He said, oh, you gone, ain't you? I said, I'm gone, Joe. I don't know. So I didn't talk to her there, but then when she did call me back and talk to me, I ran for a long time, because I was like, this is not going to be a woman who is going to be a time period. If I talk to this woman, I'm going to be with this woman for the rest of my life. I knew it. I was scared, but it finally happened. I couldn't avoid it. It was supposed to happen, so I'm happy now.
That's right. That's a beautiful story. Yeah, I figured that when you was like, yeah, we got a problem. I said, yep, that's classic Genie right there.
Yeah. I knew I was caught. I said, I'm in trouble. Yeah, I saw it from the top.
All right. Well, we are going to go to the phone line, see if you have any questions or comments, since you guys are afraid to get in the queue. Go down really quickly just to check. 8436, you're live.
Is it me?
Yes, sir. Did you have a question or
I'm
comment?
sorry. Oh, no, I don't. I was just listening, but I do appreciate the show. This is the last of the black men. I've been listening for a little while, but yeah, I appreciate the show. I appreciate everything. I was just listening.
Okay, thank you for calling in. And that brother is a great writer. I've read a couple things that he wrote, and definitely strong brother. You should be hearing more from him as time progresses. 2260, you're live on War on the Horizon. 2260. All right. 2874, you're live.
I'm just listening.
All right, thank you for listening. And 9898, you're live on War on the Horizon.
Peace, I'm just listening.
Peace, thank you for listening. All right, anybody else want to call in? Number 760-569-7676. Participation code 948656 pound. If you have any questions or comments, I see y'all listening online, so hopefully you're just soaking in the information. Like I said, a lot of times it's very helpful to hear from black men, because for some reason, when women have issues with men, they go to other women. Sometimes they'll go to a fag, but we never go to men. If we do go to men, it's usually a man that wants to get with us, so he'll try to sabotage whatever we have going on. But rarely do we actually value the opinion of men when we're having issues in our relationships to see what men actually want. We just expect that we know. And that's another problem too, I think. A lot of times we think that men are these horrible, terrible creatures, and that's because they're not women. If we weren't raised around men, we don't know how men act. We don't know how men think. And so if a man is not having the same reaction that we would have, if they're not wanting the same things that we want, we think that there's just something wrong with them. And in reality, they're just being men. It's a difference between men and women.
You know, that's really true. And I think that, like, I would like to just give a few suggestions to black women of, like, some real simple things that black women can do that really, really, really win the appreciation of black men.
Okay, go ahead, because I'm going to steal them from my next book.
One thing that is a 100% surefire hit. A woman should look at something that a man does well. I don't care if the man don't really do nothing. There's something he does well, or something he does better than the other stuff that he does. And it means something to him. You find that thing that he does well, or that thing that means something to him, that he does at least good. You take a slight interest in it. But the most important thing, you compliment him on how well he does what he does, without him having to mention that he's done it. So that, and you don't have to do it to the point where let's say it's something like he likes working on cars. You don't have to do it to the point where you got him wanting you to come out there to show you how he's working on cars. You don't got to do that. But you do it to the degree where he appreciates you so much that anytime he comes in and somebody's around, particularly when people are around, oh, he's so good with cars, man. You should see what he did. My car had no problems with it. That means a heck of I can't even describe it to you because we don't get appreciated as men. It's just and that's just across the board. That's just a general thing. Men are not really generally that appreciated, and just not verbally. If you're a woman and you find those things that the man does well, don't lie to him and tell him he do something well that he don't. But if it's y'all intimacy that he does really greatly, he can hear that. That'll make him feel good. If it's ideas, he's real smart, constantly tell him, that's why I love you so much. You smart. If he gives good advice, man, ain't nothing make a man feel better than when his woman don't know what she should do about something. Come to him and ask him. He give her a suggestion that's different than what she was thinking. She go and do it, say, thank you. I always like coming here. I know you're going to give me a good suggestion. It makes a man feel like he got intellectual value and leadership, and that there's a reason that his woman is there with him. And it don't mean that every single suggestion that a man gives you that you got to take, but to be able to trust him and ask him for those things. And then when the opportunity prevails itself, you make the opportunity to say, you know what, I just want to let you know I really appreciate you giving me that advice. I love being around you because I know I can come ask you. You're going to always give me some good advice and see it from a different perspective than what I see it from. People really, man, I'm telling you, men eat that up. That sexual, a lot of times women want to use the sexuality to get a man and to keep a man and all this stuff. But the reality is that's something that everybody can do. In the world we live in right now, it's very difficult for black women to have the humility to constantly reaffirm the good thing that the man in their life do. If you do that, you got a fan. That man feels like you're a fan and somebody on his team. That's that supportive role. Man, right there, that's a knockout. You got him. Another thing. Minimize conflict by learning how to see when a conflict is coming verbally and getting out of it. So let's say he comes in the house, you're like, how you doing, baby? Oh man, it's crazy out there. Remember a trip. Before you jump in, I was trying to just say how you doing it. Before you do it, or when you see that something can be a conflict, figure out what you can do to maneuver around it, and let the tense part blow over. So many of the issues that we face as couples will go away. A lot of times, a brother that's mature will come back because you didn't do nothing. Hey, baby, I apologize. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to snap like that. I was going through so much that I shouldn't be taking off you. Oh, no, man, I know how it is. I understand. A good example. Yesterday, I came home. Well, whatever day we came back from the trip, we're tired and everything. And we got back earlier than we were supposed to. And the queen was laying down asleep with the baby, and I kind of woke her up because we was here. I was telling her we all coming in, and she hadn't done everything she was wanting to do with the house. She's very conscientious to always having things perfect. She was asleep when we had called and everything. So when I woke up, she kind of like, she was droggy or whatever. She snapped a little bit. I ain't paid no mind, man. I ain't paid no mind because, one, she don't like getting up when she sleep. And two, I understood that her issue wasn't me. It was that she wanted the place to be right and everything like that. So I'm just saying it for women to think, too. Instead of being reactionary, there was a time when I got mad. Why you snapping at this? I ain't even think about it twice. I said, we did. She didn't know he was coming. Now she a little discombobulated. And I woke her up in the middle of a good, she got these babies. She can't get that much sleep. She was in a good sleep. So she's a little snappy. I ain't have no issue. She came later because I had forgot about it. She said, oh, I'm sorry. I was like, oh, no, man, I don't even worry about that. I wasn't even thinking about that. But the fact that she came and apologized, put a little icing on the cake, because I wasn't even bothered by it anyway. It's one of those things that easily could have turned into us sitting down and blowing up at each other like when we was first together. That would have been an issue, because I'd been like, don't talk to me like that. And she'd have been like, with some kind of excuse, not even acknowledging that she did it. And then we'd have been in a huge thing on the verge of trying to figure out if this will work. Where now, both parties is taking responsibility. I took responsibility. I woke her up. She took responsibility, saying, hey, I shouldn't have snapped, and it wasn't even an issue, and it just is gone. I'm saying, for black women, if you learn how to navigate those situations, a lot of your relationships will last longer and be better, and it'll be easier. Because those little things keep happening all the time. Usually is what destroys a relationship. It ain't usually no one big thing. It's usually little things that lead to a big thing. But if those little things wasn't there all the time, you might not even have a big thing.
I agree completely. And another thing that we do, it's good to avoid arguments whenever we can. But a lot of times we actually are starting these things. Like, that's one thing I talk about in the book, is that as soon as a man comes home, he doesn't need to hear every complaint that you've thought about during the day. Sometimes y'all come home and y'all ain't even took your shoes off, nothing. We just, and you ain't do this and you ain't do that and why you ain't do this. From the moment you come through the door, after you've been dealing with Lord only knows what all day. We all know that doesn't feel good, but what does that do to you as a man? And do you think that that's really a big problem with women?
Yeah, it's a huge issue because, again, this just is not necessarily intentional. Black women don't understand actually it's both parties. If the woman is at home with children, the man don't understand what she deal with all day. So if he come home and is not reasonable, he can cause problems in that situation. But more specifically to your question, black women that don't understand the kind of pressure that a black man deals with every day. Literally, a brother get pulled over by the police and really be thinking, I might die tonight. And I got to surrender and have some humility in a situation where I didn't even do nothing wrong. And he come home and he don't even tell you that he got pulled over. Or dealt with something on the job, or some cracker doing this, just all kind of stuff in this society. He out there seeing stuff going. It's a lot of things that happen to black men consistently all day long, every day. When he come home, he really wants to be able to sit back and detox, and just like sometimes sisters want to do the same thing. But black women that don't understand that and then put more burden on that man, it's like it's like when you got water and it's real hot and it's boiling. And all you gotta do is wait a few more seconds of that hot fire, and it's gonna boil over and knock the top off. But if you turn it off, even though it's super hot, it's gonna cool down. So the black woman, I think, will do good to look at it like that. Hey, that man is out there in that world. So when he come home, it need to be cool down time. He need to be able to see his children, not acting crazy, but happy to see him. See his woman, happy to see him, greet him at the door. Hey, everything good today? Oh man, it's crazy at work. Okay. Well, I got something cooking, or I got something that he like, and just be pleasant. That pleasantry, once he gets home and feels that pleasantry and everything like that, once he cools down and everything like that, he'll be easy to get along with. Because now he can get away from the madness of the world that he in and come home to a place of comfort. If it ain't comfort, you're going to blow the top. And then all of the stuff that these crackers and Negroes and coons and fags and shines can put on them, you're going to be the one to take the blame and get cussed out and dealt with, not for what you did, but for what all these other people did. No, you don't want that.
That's right. And I think that that's the problem with women a lot of times. We're not humble at all. We don't want to admit when we're wrong. Anytime our man does something, a little bit out of line, we want to go off and all this other stuff. We never really want to take the intelligent way. We always want to, I don't know, maybe because a lot of us have been abused or something. We don't want to feel as though anybody is disrespecting us at all. Nobody's getting away with anything at all. And it really leads to a lot of problems, because anytime you live with somebody on a day-to-day basis, there's going to be issues that are going to come up. Somebody's going to snap on somebody or joke around and you don't think it's funny or whatever. And you have to have a lot of humility sometimes to let things go. Women don't want to hear this, but especially as a woman, sometimes you need to let things go, because the man's nature is to be a little bit more aggressive, sometimes a little less humble than we are. So sometimes that's just something that you have to kind of take one for the team, but it's something I think a lot of us don't want to do. We've been bred to think that, we have to be abrasive. We can't let anything go.
And I think it's primarily through media, but it's also through the education system. It's through rewards. The whites have passed on their narcissistic mentality to black women. The same kind of narcissism that cracker has in the world. He can murder people and destroy them, but then if somebody shoots him back, he's like completely appalled and doesn't understand. And that person's the worst person in the world. You're like, but you just came and killed the whole village. And we shot one cracker, and all of a sudden we're a bunch of monsters. As if you thought you could do that and get away with it, and there'd be no criticism or anything. They expect to be able to do stuff and have no criticism. They have a very narcissistic, they are the only thing of value kind of mentality, and particularly when it comes to their relation to black people. The black woman has adopted that mentality in her relationship to black men. So black women are very not all, of course, but a lot, and even ones that are not 100% like this, across the board, you tend to see some narcissism in black women, where it's almost like dealing with a cracker to the point where they can't be wrong about nothing. Even when they did wrong, they have to shift blame, and they willing to go to war and give up everything to just be right about something, when that ain't even in a woman's nature to have to be right. Women are more passive and have some more humility, and can take the fact when a man says, hey, no, I think this, that wasn't enough. That's not nothing big for a woman, because it don't mean that much to her. That's not her job or obligation to be right about stuff. He the one with the responsibility to take care of the family. He the one that's supposed to have to be right, because if it goes wrong, no matter what, it's his responsibility to fix it. So that narcissism that black women have is a real humongous problem in relationships, and that's why I like your book. The simple instructions you provide in there help a black woman see, yeah, I am kind of narcissistic. Maybe that will help if I don't act like that. So like me and my queen relationship, there was a time where there was no possibility in the known universe that she would have come and apologized for snapping at me. It just wouldn't have happened. But the benefit of now being like that is that I'm an easy to get along with person when it comes to that. No matter how bad somebody do something, if they apologize to me, I forget almost instantly. It's like I don't even hardly remember if they say I made a mistake. I'm sorry. It's like it's instantly gone. So now that she does that, even though I had already written it off, it wasn't a relevance. When she did that, now I'm trying to blame myself for it now because it's like it has a power in just showing respect for the other person. When you say, "Oops, I made a mistake," it gives some respect to that other person. Will allow them to not budge and hold their position and ground, and then you can have a more smoother relationship. That narcissism, and maybe you can help figure out, is something that black women gotta deal with though, because it destroys relationships.
Definitely. And we'll be coming back to the phone lines in just a minute, but I definitely think that like we've been bred to see black men as inferior. So it's like, who are you? You know, why I gotta submit to you? Why I gotta apologize to you? Like, who you think you are? You just an N-word? I mean, come on. I mean, we've actually had that mentality bred into us. And I think another thing that women don't understand when it comes to sometimes letting things go and being the bigger person. I've heard a lot of black women say, well, you don't want to always be the bigger person. I mean, you know, you start to resent that after a while, which is true on some levels, but we don't understand the importance and the value of women, and that in most cultures, the whole race is judged by their women. The women are supposed to be, in some ways, morally superior to the men. I mean, there's some things that men can do and you like, that's just a man doing what he do. But if a woman did that, it would be so disgusting, so disgraceful. And we see that as a double standard, and I guess it is a double standard, but really it's just that women are supposed to be held to a higher standard. They're the mother of civilization. They're how you judge a culture. So you can't have a woman down in the mud with men. So that kind of goes along with, like I was saying, letting things go sometimes. Be the bigger person. You don't always have to be arrogant. You don't always have to be right. Sometimes you can just let stuff go.
Yeah. And I know we talking about women here, but I mean, brothers got to be able to do the same thing too. Because like, I had a lot of little, what they call pet peeves. Like, I don't know where this came from. I don't know if something happened with a balled up napkin in my childhood, but I have this unreasonable dislike for a balled up napkin being anywhere. So like, if you sitting on somewhere and you wipe your hands, you ball the napkin up and put it on the side, and then it sits there and it falls on the floor. If I come in the room and see it on the floor, I'm walking over there, picking it up, putting it in the chair. It's like a weird, totally unreasonable thing. I used to, because for whatever, she's a balled up napkin person. So it was just like, it was one of those things like, oh my God, I don't know what's going to happen with this. Eventually, I realized we got enough stuff to debate and argue with. Now, if I see something, I don't even say nothing, I pick it up. Don't even bring it to attention. It's not important. I had to learn myself. You can't sit there and be talking about, you know, just you never happy about anything, everything's a complaint, and then you acting like a little fag yourself, complain about little useless, like completely irrelevant something that you can fix, like me with the trash. When the trash get a certain height and you see it's about to overflow, some people just keep putting it in there so then the bag sink into the trash can. I don't like no trash touching my trash can. I only want to touch the bag. Don't ask me why. It's really ridiculous. But instead of complaining about it, I realized, why don't I just always look at the trash and take it out, and then if it did sink into the thing, I just unsink it, take it out, and take care of it. It ain't nothing to make an issue. You already got all this other stuff in life to deal with. So I had to learn myself. Stop being, like, considerate of every little tiny little thing that you can consider. Be reasonable, have reasonable expectations, meet your expectations, make sure that the other person meets their expectations, and then just be happy to be around each other, you know?
You know what? I'm not the right person to ask on that, because I'm laughing at you because you sound OCD and I am too. I have a thing with my ice cream. But see, it backfired on me because I'm not mature enough to let it go. When I eat ice cream, I like I eat it so that it's smooth on the top. I don't want no lines in it. I don't want it to look like I've been eating off of it. I want it to just be smooth. So my husband know that. So instead of cooperating, because he ain't supposed to be eating my ice cream, no way. I didn't buy it to share. He'd just go in purposely, take a big old hunk out, leave it like that to where I have to eat almost the whole thing to get it back to being smooth the way I like it. So that is an ongoing issue in my house. So I can't even say that you're wrong for that. I feel you on that, and I think that they need to get with the program when it comes to pet peeves.
Look, I'm telling you, I really have done a lot of, because I'm telling you now, here's one of mine. It's a nothing thing, but like there was literally a time where I could be dating a sister, and if she did this, I'd be like, nah, you got to go. It's going to sound really ridiculous. I mean, like, this will be way more ridiculous than the smooth, because I understand the smooth ice cream. I understand that I can't do it, but I actually really like a smooth ice cream. I understand the idea you're working with. But look, if somebody take the jelly and put it on the bread, but they still got jelly on the knife and don't wipe the knife, then they put it in the peanut butter, and then they wipe the peanut butter, and now in the peanut butter jar, you got some jelly in there. That would freak me out. I mean, like, when I say freak me out, I'm talking about, like, I was ridiculous. Like, I don't know what it is, but I want only peanut butter in the peanut butter jar, only jelly in the jelly, and I don't want to see, like, the slightest sign of either or having mixed up until they hit the bread. Now, don't ask me why. I don't think it's no kind of latent, like, ridiculous, psychopathic thinking is going on. It's just some weirdo thing I got going. But like now, if people come and do that stuff, I don't even trip. I just go in, scoop the little peanut butter out the jelly or the jelly out the peanut butter, toss it, and then put the peanut butter back in the thing. Don't even say nothing, and I'm cool. I don't even bring it up to nobody. Ain't even an issue no more. So I'm working on myself.
And I will say I understand that as well, because my thing isn't the peanut butter as much as I don't like somebody making toast and getting butter on the knife and then putting butter in the jelly, because the butter gonna go bad at some point. The jelly is good for a little bit. I don't want no nasty butter in there putrefying my jelly.
With little crumbs.
With crumbs.
Oh man.
That's right.
I got to scoop that piece out. I got to scoop it out and then toss it.
That's right. So if you do that, you deserve to get cussed out. That's my opinion on that. But I'm going to go back to the phone line. We have a couple more calls. I'm going to see if they have any questions or comments. We have a call from Skype. You're live. Call from Skype. All right. All right. King David, who knows now, don't be leaving no butter in the jelly. How you doing?
You're fine, Queen. Peace.
Peace.
How you doing, my brother?
How you doing, Irritated Genie?
Hey, man, doing fantastic.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I will first off let everybody know Irritated Genie is a good brother, decent brother, real brother. He talks the talk and walks the walk. I can say that because I met the brother twice. And I can say that he is a real brother. He's a real black man dedicated to this cause and dedicated to this struggle. My hat goes off to you, soldier.
Appreciate that, my brother.
Oh, yes, sir. But brother, I want to ask you a question. I want to get an Irritated Genie's take on this. What's your take on the pushy black woman? How would you personally deal with a pushy black woman?
Uh-oh.
Okay. All right. Pushy black. Okay. I'm going to say it like this. That depends on the black man's personality. Like, I've looked at you, and I've watched Brother David, and I studied. One thing that I admire about you, you have a very calm spirit. You strike me as a brother who, if he was dealing with a pushy woman, but she was really a good woman, you would just ignore the stuff that you ain't gonna do and not make a big deal out of it. Where
that's exactly what happens.
I think you just won't let it become an issue because you're just not going to be. But you ain't going to go back and forth and debate it so much. You might give it a little bit of room here and there, but you just want to ignore that, which you don't want to deal with, and make sure that you, if need be, you put your foot down. But you won't even do that unless you have to. So I think for a brother that is like that, it is a good balance because some people are just naturally pushy. That's who they are. But that doesn't mean that they shouldn't have a man. It just means that man has to be a man that knows how to deal with that without being your type. If I had your type of spirit, I probably could deal with that better. For me, I have a very, particularly dealing with a woman, I'm a very direct person. I don't like being pushed by people. Like I don't deal well with getting pushed. Like the worst thing a person can do that wants to work with me or do something is start trying to be pushy with me. I get real, I have a problem with it, and it becomes a real serious problem very quickly. So for a person like that, I would say dealing with a pushy person, you either talk to the person and let them understand how you are and see if they can make the adjustment and if y'all can find a middle ground, or if you got a personality like this and the person is naturally pushing, it ain't going to change, you got to determine, can you accept their pushiness and ignore it, or is it going to be issues for blow-ups? If it's going to be issues for blow-up and not able to work, you got to make that assessment. But I think the best thing to do is to talk to the person and see if they're reasonable so that y'all can come to a middle ground, which when I watch you all, that's what I kind of see. Laid back brother, but clearly a man, clearly in wearing the pants, but got a very aggressive woman he with, but he appreciates her aggressiveness because what she can do, but he ain't gonna let it overrun him. So that's how I look at it. I think that's a good way to deal with it if it can be dealt with that way.
You better than me, because when he asked me that question, I just say cuss him out.
But very important, very important. The man gotta let the woman know that she being pushy and how he feel about it. You cannot ignore it. You got to let her know. So even if you ignore her, she need to know that she pushy and you ignore her because she pushy. You don't want the person to have to know that they pushy. That ain't healthy. You need to let them know, what you're doing and why you do it.
Right. Yes, sir.
So you better than me, because when he asked me that question, I just say, cuss him out and get it over with.
Yeah, that's a pushy woman, damn it. That's what we talking about.
Cuss him out.
Now, one more question to you. I talked to a lot of brothers about this before. A lot of brothers I know, the wives give them ultimatums. Like they say, if we're not ultimatums, but like, if you don't do this, I won't do that. If you won't go here, I won't go there. I'll give you kind of like, okay, the only way I'll do that is if you do this. Kind of like playing mind games.
Yeah. I'm gonna tell you, and again, this is one of those things. Me personally, man, if you get married to somebody, you got to be able to maneuver and work through that. But I'm be honest, it's nothing that, man. You want to talk about something that really bothers me. If a woman wants something from me and she asks, then I either want to do it or I don't. So if I'm gonna do it, I'll do it. Right. I'm not gonna say I'll do it if you do this, because now we got a relationship that's based on not you trying to make me happy, not me trying to make you happy, and respecting each other, but tit for tat. I don't like that. When I end up in a situation, hey, can I do? Well, if you do this, I do that. Then instantly, what I do is I turn off. I'm not doing it. Whatever it is I want it, I don't want it no more. And then I stop asking for it more, which is really unhealthy. But I'm not a tit. I can't do the balance thing, tit for tat thing. Once that happens, then I say fine. I don't say it out loud, but I don't want it. I don't need it. Whatever it is that I want that I can't get because I want it, that I got to do something else to get it, then it ain't worth having as far as I'm concerned. And I can admit that can be something that's negative because it can build some animosity in relationships and so I don't think it's a good way to do it, because for a man in particular, with a woman that does that, if you allow that, what happens is she believes and will move to the point of controlling you. And particularly for a black man who's in this movement, it is probably one of the worst characteristics you can have, because once a woman knows that in order to get something that you will make compromises, and that she can compromise you with these things, particularly if you're conscious and she's not necessarily conscious, I don't care if otherwise she would have been okay with respecting what you do, she is going to use that leverage to pull a brother out of this movement. It's a surefire thing. I ain't saying she might. If you let a black woman give you those type of ultimatums and stuff, and you trying to be in the movement and doing this work, and you accept that kind of stuff, if you don't walk away with it when you do this, well, only if you do this, okay, never mind. If you don't do it like that and then say forget it and keep going your own way, then that woman is going to slowly, you make that compromise. Next time you got to make this compromise, and before you know it, you're not going to be doing this race work. That is how, I'm not saying what I think. I know how this works. I've seen the psychology of it, and they're going to essentially destroy your manhood at some point. I think it's a terrible, terrible thing. It's a terrible direction there. There are times when that's cool. Like, if you say, hey, you know, can you rub my feet? Not for your too long. Can you rub my feet? Yeah, I rub your feet too. Sometimes that can be okay. Sometimes it just, sometimes it's not no trying to take control. Sometimes it's just, they want something, you want something too. But in general, when they're trying to do it as leverage, as far as I'm concerned, a black man better put an end to that quickly. Find a way to put an end to that, talk about that, and deal with that, because it's a very bad situation for a relationship.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I agree, brother. I agree.
Any other questions, Brother David?
No, ma'am. It's the only questions I have for our big brother.
Well,
thank you, Brother Irritated Genie.
Hold on, not so quick. I wanted you to call in tonight because I know you got in kind of late. Part of what we were talking about was God's Gift, Chapter 1, talking about the life of black men, and Chapter 2, talking about homemaking. And I had asked Brother Genie a little bit earlier about homemaking and how that affects men and what he looks for in a wife. And I remember when we were courting, well, actually, I didn't know. You told me about this later, that you actually waited for me to go off and do something. And then you went through every drawer in the home, every closet, looked under my bed, went like throughout the whole house. I don't even know where I was at this point, trying to find some mess to see if I was actually clean or not, because that's one of the things that you wanted in a spouse. Is that true?
That is true. I forgot where you went, but I checked everything. I checked the bathroom. I looked for dust. I looked for anything. I couldn't find anything.
So you're a trespasser. So men actually do this.
Men actually do that. Not just me, other brothers. We've talked about it. They went through, when the sister left the room and the sister did something, they went through whatever they could go through. Whatever was in front of their face, they can go through it real fast. They did it.
All right, so I just wanted to
see if they can find anything. For me, particularly, I was looking for dirt. Any kind of, not that kind of dirt, like some crazy scandal dirt, but just physical dirt. I was looking for, because your apartment was so clean, I was looking for any kind of dirt, anything. I thought you were putting up
Once you saw that, you said, this is a clean woman. She cares about herself.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That apartment was clean from top to bottom. I knew that wasn't something she just did just for me, and that was something that she was just clean. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right. Well, I'll let you go. I just wanted to bring up that women, that is an important thing for men. And if you leave the room, they will trespass and be nosy and be all up in your business. So make sure you got your stuff together.
That is true.
All right. Well, thank you for calling in.
All right. Peace, Brother Gene.
Peace, my brother.
All right. Well, now that we got the trespasser off the line, do you have any closing thoughts today? Anything that you'd like women to know? Because I know that they're listening, wanting some information and just wondering about what goes on in the mind of men.
Yes, well, what I really like to say, one, I appreciate all the sisters for listening. And I really mean this when I say this. I'm not being funny. And I know what I'm talking about. For black women out there who really do want a productive relationship with a black man. I know people always say there's not enough brothers out there and all this stuff they tell you. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to tell you the real deal. Because of the condition of the black woman in today, the general condition, in reality, you actually have an easier time getting and keeping a man today than you would have in the past, because the competition of really being a woman who a man would take seriously and stay with, there's not a whole lot of competition, because we're just not living in those type of times with that kind of competition. So my point being, if you learn the basic, first of all, how to identify a good black man, and you take the advice that our sister gave you how to be a good black woman to a strong black man, you learn how to identify a good man. Once you get them, if you follow these instructions, you do not have to worry about him leaving, because he's not going to get that with the other women he deals with. And he's going to realize, if you don't take this, he may never get it again. That's just the truth. I'm not telling you what I think. I've seen it. And I think that sisters should feel good that knowing that you have now information that's going to help you to be superior in terms of your relationships with black men. So I wish you all the best. I really, really want to see my sisters have committed good relationships with their men at work. Love you, and I'll see you all on the battlefield.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
All right. Well, there you have it, sisters. You've been asking me what is going on in the mind of black men. And we have a definite alpha black man who just let us in a little bit to the thinking of black men, what they want, what they desire. And now it's going to be up to us if we actually want to provide those things. Like I said earlier, a lot of times we say that we want to please our man, but we're more worried about pleasing everybody else. You know, they might tell us, lower our skirt a little bit, wear a little bit longer. We don't want to do it. Why? Obviously, we ain't worried about what our man wants. We're worried about what everybody else wants, and we're worried about what society expects of us. So hopefully today was a little bit informative. We got to talk about the life of black men, talk about how important being domestic is. And I tell you what, that will take you a lot further than a lot of these women who think, oh, I got to get this good job, I got to have a degree, I got to be independent. I have never, ever had a problem finding a good man. I'm always surrounded by good men, whether they're just friends, co-workers, my husband, whoever. Never had a problem. But that's because my focus is on being domestic, being feminine, being a woman, and men are naturally attracted to that. The more you go in the other direction, the more you are going to repel the men that you want. So we have to work on being good women. We have to learn how to know a good black man when we see one. And hopefully this series will help you out a little bit. So remember, for the next couple weeks, instead of the show being every other week, it will be on weekly. So next week we have a very special guest I'm very excited about. We're going to be going over chapters 2 and 3, basically talking about communication and cooperation. So read up on those chapters. Join us next week, and hopefully we'll have a little bit more impact, a little bit more dialogue with you guys, because I see you listening in online. We definitely want your input. We want you to call in and get involved. Ask your questions now while you can. So with that, I will go on and close the show. Stay tuned for DJ as they talk about the Christian sensibility. Peace.
God, it's just obvious this devil got us at each other's throats like we don't need each other just to stay afloat. I took a solemn oath I wouldn't abandon you. Be a man for you, stand for you, let it bang for you. Beyond the present, setting a standard for our children. Living life in the likeness and image of ourselves, bias and forwards in the wilderness and hells of North America. God is incarnate, a reach up my heart, my reflection, my lifeline, my all sparks, my conscience, the battery in my back, the clip to my ratchet, but I'm on the attack. Make a house into a home, escape madness in our palace. The one the current grace focuses my malice. We know the enemy and its many faces, and their many motives to try to decimate us. One is separation, I don't want a vision, that anxiety. Literally for the life of me, I'd rather die than be with another white meat. Brothers like to sightsee, saying they like variety. But that's a cop-out, he won't see the light. Black woman got the most variety, cause there's no phenotype. That's either there or there, let me make it clear. I don't just gotta love you, I wanna love you. Yes, let's take it there. For brothers seeking out show compliments, you should only look at one continent. Brothers